Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. A hard-earned point at the Emirates, which is never a bad result. And I'll take it. I'll take it all day, based on how the game went. And to be honest, our recent history at the Emirates and how well Arsenal normally do on their own patch. First half. My concerns before a ball was kicked about this was what I've seen in the past from these games. And there's three things that Arsenal always try and outfight us in midfield. That's their number one game plan when they play us at the Emirates. And when they do, part of that game plan is to spray it wide to Saka and Martinelli. And they did it time and time again last season, and they did it time and time again in this game. And the third tactic is to fall over whenever they can. So when they're going in for these duels, if they don't win them, or even if they do win them, fall over and get free kicks. And that's exactly what they did. It's something that Arteta clearly focuses on. They're very, very good at set pieces, which we'll get to in a minute. But the game started exactly how I hoped it wouldn't, in that you would have Martinelli and especially Saka running riot down the wings. And after 9 minutes, to be honest, it was a hopeful punt. But Andy Robertson misread it. Then he was bamboozled by Saka, who, to be honest, did really, really well and blasted it high over Kelleher. And at that point, we were very much second best. It got the crowd in. It got Arsenal up for it. We didn't seem to be able to get a foothold in the game. We could have equalised immediately though, because a slack pass across the box from the Arsenal defender straight to Mo Salah, and he had an open goal. I know he was like 24 yards out or something like that, but he curled it wide, and that should have been 1-1 straight away. After that, we were struggling to get a foothold. We were struggling to get any possession, and then thankfully after 18 minutes, we get a corner. Luis Diaz does brilliantly to nod it on, and Virgil van Dijk is first to it and nods it home, and it's 1-1. So you're like, okay, good. Now that's going to knock the stuffing out of Arsenal, but it didn't really. Arsenal continued to boss the game. Martinelli was giving Trent a torrid time. Saka continued to give Andy Robertson a torrid time, and in the end, we were hanging on till half time, but we didn't quite hang on, because for the second time in the match, Arsenal bought a foul, 30 yards out on the right wing. The first time, the Arsenal player got on the end of it and put it wide. I think it might have been ruled off for offside, but we won't know. And then the second one, he's barely onside, but he is onside, and he heads it home, and we're 2-1 down at half time. So going in at half time, I'm thinking we've lost all the duels, we're losing the wing battles, and we're getting a bit overrun, and we're giving free kicks away. So we have to change all of those things. I did have optimism for the second half, even as poor as we were in the first half, because of how Arsenal tend to play. They can never keep up this elaborate wing play, and I thought Saka is going to tire for sure. He's just come back from injury, can't last 90 minutes. And Martinelli, I've never seen him have a decent second half. He's gung-ho in first half of games, and he absolutely disappears in the second half of games, and so it was today. Saka did fade, Martinelli completely disappeared. I thought Arne Slot's going to change things, although he kept the same 11 on the pitch. Liverpool came out with far more intent. He clearly said to them, stop giving free kicks away, and they did. Arsenal's wing play disappeared. We didn't give free kicks away, and we started to win the battles in the middle of the field. And sure enough, that resulted in a second half where we were in the ascendancy as much in the second half as Arsenal were in the first half. Arsenal, they lost a couple of more defenders to injury through the game, and so they decided, let's just hang on for 2-1. And there was a point where you're thinking they might just do this here, because we were playing around them on the outside of the box in the final third, but not really penetrating too much. And then there was a moment, Arsenal breaking, Martinelli once again, second half, he loses out in a tackle to Konate. And I want to mention this, Martinelli would have got past Trent as he did the whole game, and thankfully Ibu was cleaning up behind Trent, and he's the start of that goal. Trent is getting the plaudits for the ball he gives to Darwin Núñez, which was a fantastic pass. I'm not taking anything away from it, but it was Konate's challenge that won the ball to give it to Trent, for Trent to launch that forward. Darwin Núñez did brilliantly. More of the type of control we want to see from him. He didn't lash at it. He didn't go bombing into the box. He took his time. He had composure, and he picks out the perfect pass across to Mo Salah, and Mo Salah buries it. And in the 81st minute, we're level. And from that point on, it looked like only one team was going to win it. But in the end, we couldn't quite get that winner. Thoroughly deserved a spoil of the points based on the second half display. To not lose a game to Arsenal, who are ahead after 9 minutes on their own patch, you can't really complain about that. So on to the shout outs. I've just got a couple today, and I know it seems to be every week, but because he does something every week, doesn't he? But Mo Salah now has more goal involvements against top 5 teams than any player in the Premier League. That's Mo Salah. He always does it in the big games. He drew level with Robbie Fowler today in all-time Liverpool goal scorers, and although he missed one in the first half that he probably should have scored, that's the great thing about Mo Salah. Doesn't let it play in his mind, and he was there when we needed him. 9 minutes from time, and he gets us the draw. Absolutely superb. The second shout out goes to Konate, who was an absolute rock today. Virgil was decent, but not his best game. Andy Robbo, I'm a little bit worried about him. I don't know whether injuries have taken their toll on him, but he seems to have lost a step. He wasn't the normal Andy Robbo today, and Trent was having a torrid time against Martinelli and was bailed out by Ibu so many times. The number of times he was the key man to quell any of Arsenal's attacks was amazing, and he was absolutely brilliant. So well done, Ibu. That's about it today for shout outs. There wasn't exactly anyone else who really stood out in, let's be honest, was a very difficult game. So unfortunately we're not at the top of the league. We're now second place, but let's look on the bright side here. We've just played Chelsea and we've just played Arsenal, and we've beaten one and drawn the other in their own patch. Apart from Man City away, it's the hardest game of the season. We are 1 point from top. We're still 4 points clear of Arsenal, so that's huge. You know, we could have gone 7, but it could have ended up being only 1 ahead of Arsenal. We're 4 points ahead of Arsenal now, and we've played them at their patch, so that's great. And you know, we've just played Chelsea and Arsenal, while Man City have just played Wolves and Southampton. So it swings and roundabouts, and our easier games against those teams are going to come. So anyway, we move on. It's still been an absolutely stunning start to the season. Arne Slot again deserves great credit for the second half comeback. I don't know what he said at half time, but it certainly seemed to work because we were much more at it. Now we have a home game against Brighton, a home game against Villa, and an away game against Southampton. That's our next 3. in the Premier League. So all to play for. Well done, lads. Very, very difficult place to go. Very, very difficult to get a result at Arsenal, but we did it. You'll never walk alone. See you after the next one. Ta-ra.